Hi, it's me. Number 10. The Lost City of Heracleion. Heracleion was one of the most important cities in ancient Egypt, serving as the main port for the country. This is why the ruler Ptolemy III built the city in the 4th century BC. But the city had quite a bit more going for it than just its strategic location. Heracleion was a hub for international trade. It sat at the mouth of the Nile River, near the eastern end of the Mediterranean Sea. This made it a gateway between Africa, Asia, and Europe. The people of Heracleion were known to be very wealthy and cosmopolitan. They weren't just Egyptians. People from Greece, Rome, India, Arabia, and many other regions lived there. In fact, it was so diverse that historians sometimes called it the city of all the world. The wealth and power of the city is evident in the construction of its temples, palaces, and other public buildings. Many of these structures are still standing today, such as the Temple of Isis and the Lighthouse of Pharaohs, which was one of the tallest man-made structures in the ancient world. Unfortunately, Heracleion was destroyed by a series of earthquakes and tsunamis over the centuries. The last earthquake to hit the city occurred in 1303 AD, at which point it was completely abandoned. Archaeologists have been excavating the site since the 1990s, and they've found some incredible artifacts, including a huge collection of coins, jewelry, statues, and other treasures. They've also discovered the remains of a harbor wall and other infrastructure that once supported the city's economy. But perhaps the most exciting discovery came in 2020, when researchers found the sunken ruins of a palace that belonged to one of Egypt's most famous rulers, Cleopatra. Archaeologists are still working to uncover the secrets of this lost city. But in the meantime, we can marvel at what has already been found and imagine what life was like in this ancient metropolis. Number 9. The enigmatic origins of Egyptian civilization. Egyptologists have long debated the origins of Egyptian civilization. Where did the first Egyptians come from? What language did they speak? And how did they develop such advanced technologies without any outside help? There are many theories about this, but no one knows the truth. Most scholars believe that Egyptian civilization emerged independently around 3000 BCE with the unification of Upper and Lower Egypt. However, recent discoveries have cast doubt on this traditional narrative. For example, a team of archaeologists led by Zahi Hawass discovered a cemetery in Abydos that dates back to 4000 BCE. The cemetery contains tombs of individuals who were buried with great care and ceremony, suggesting that they were important members of society. But the burials also show signs of influence from other cultures, such as the use of a type of pottery that was imported from the East. This suggests that the Egyptians were not completely isolated and that they may have been in contact with other civilizations before the traditional date of 3000 BCE. Another piece of evidence that challenges the traditional narrative is the presence of copper tools and weapons in Egypt dating back to 4500 BCE. Copper was not native to Egypt, and it's likely that the Egyptians acquired their copper from traders in the East. This again suggests that Egyptian civilization was not completely independent and that it may have been influenced by outside cultures. The truth is that we don't know much about the origins of Egyptian civilization. What we do know is that the Egyptians were a sophisticated and advanced people who developed many of the hallmarks of modern civilization, including a written language, a system of government, and monumental architecture. We can only hope that future discoveries will shed light on the mysterious beginnings of this great civilization. Number 8. The Great Sphinx of Giza. The Great Sphinx of Giza is one of the most iconic monuments in the world. It's been standing guard over the Egyptian desert for over 4,500 years. But despite its age, the Sphinx remains shrouded in mystery. For example, we don't know exactly who built the Sphinx or why. It was built in the 20th century BCE during the reign of the pharaoh Khafre, but it may have been completed by later rulers. The Sphinx was originally covered in white limestone, but this was stripped away centuries ago, leaving the bare stone beneath. The reason for this is unknown, but it's thought that the limestone was used to build other structures or that it was deliberately removed as part of a religious ceremony. The Sphinx has also been damaged by natural forces over the centuries. Its nose was broken off in 1378 by an earthquake, and its paws have been eroded by the wind and sand. Despite its damaged state, the Sphinx continues to fascinate visitors from around the world. Some believe that the Sphinx holds the key to unlocking ancient Egyptian secrets. Others see it as a symbol of Egypt's rich history and culture. Whatever the truth may be, the Great Sphinx of Giza is sure to remain one of Egypt's most enduring mysteries for centuries to come. Number 7. The Riddle of the Rosetta Stone. The Rosetta Stone is one of the most important artifacts ever discovered in Egypt. This huge slab of basalt inscribed with ancient hieroglyphics was found in 1799 by Napoleon's army. At the time, nobody could read hieroglyphics, so the stone was simply hauled back to France and forgotten about. It wasn't until 1822 that a French scholar named Jean-François Champollion deciphered the code and unlocked the secrets of the Rosetta Stone. Champollion realized that the stone contained a decree issued by an Egyptian priest in the year 196 BCE. The decree praises the pharaoh Ptolemy V and his family. But the most important thing about the decree is that it was written in 3 different languages. The first 2 columns were written in hieroglyphics and demotic script, an informal script used by ordinary Egyptians. But the 3rd column was written in Greek, a language that was familiar to European scholars. This gave Champollion the key he needed to unlock the hieroglyphic code. He began by comparing the Greek text to the hieroglyphic text, and he soon realized that they were saying the same thing. This meant that he had cracked the code and he could read hieroglyphics. The discovery of the Rosetta Stone is considered one of the most important events in the history of Egyptology. It allowed scholars to read countless ancient texts and learn more about Egyptian culture and history than ever before. Without the Rosetta Stone, our understanding of ancient Egypt would be much more limited. Number 6. The Voynich Manuscript. The Voynich Manuscript is one of the most mysterious books ever discovered. It's a medieval tome written in an unknown language and filled with strange illustrations of plants, animals, and astronomical charts. The book was named after the bookseller Wilfrid Voynich, who purchased it in Italy in 1912. But its origins are unknown, and nobody has ever been able to decipher its contents. There are many theories about the Voynich manuscript, but no one knows for sure what it is or where it came from. Some scholars believe that the book is a hoax, while others think it's a genuine medieval manuscript. The book's unknown language has been the subject of much speculation, and there are many amateur detectives who claim to have cracked the code, but so far no one has been successful. The Voynich manuscript is currently housed at Yale University, and it's one of the most popular exhibits in the university's Sphinx Rare Book and Manuscript Library. If you're interested in learning more about this mysterious book, you can even view it online. Number 5. The Last Pharaoh. Egypt's last pharaoh was a woman named Cleopatra. She ruled from 51 to 30 BCE, and her story is one of the most famous in history. Cleopatra was born in Alexandria, Egypt, and she was the last active ruler of the Ptolemaic kingdom of Egypt. Her father, Ptolemy XII, was deposed by her brother Ptolemy XIII when Cleopatra was just a teenager. But Cleopatra eventually took control of the kingdom after marrying her brother and having children with him. After her brother's death, Cleopatra became the sole ruler of Egypt. But she faced a number of challenges, including a civil war and an invasion by the Roman general Pompey. With the help of her lover, the Roman general Mark Antony, Cleopatra was able to defeat Pompey and secure her throne. However, Antony and Cleopatra's relationship caused a rift between Egypt and Rome eventually declared war on Egypt. As the Roman army approached Alexandria, Cleopatra and Antony committed suicide rather than surrender. Their deaths marked the end of the Ptolemaic dynasty and the beginning of Roman rule in Egypt. Number 4. The death of Tutankhamun. Tutankhamun is one of the most famous pharaohs in history, thanks in large part to the fact that his tomb was discovered intact in 1922 by Howard Carter. But despite the fact that so much attention has been focused on Tutankhamun, we still don't know how he died. The boy king ruled from 1332 to 1323 BC, and his death is shrouded in mystery. One theory is that Tutankhamun was killed in a chariot accident. This is based on the discovery of a number of chariots in his tomb, as well as a bas-relief showing him driving a chariot. However, there is no direct evidence that he died in a chariot accident. Another theory is that Tutankhamun was assassinated. This theory is based on the fact that his death came suddenly and unexpectedly. Additionally, there is evidence that his wife, Ankhesenamun, tried to avenge his death by sending letters to the Hittite king seeking his help. However, there is no evidence that either theory is correct, and we may never know how Tutankhamun died. What we do know is that he is one of the most famous pharaohs in history, and his death has captured the imaginations of people all over the world. Number 3. The Curse of the Mummies. The Curse of the Mummies is a legend that says, if you disturb an ancient Egyptian mummy, you will release a curse that will bring bad luck to you and your family. The legend dates back to 1826, when a British soldier named James Bainbridge opened a mummy case in the British Museum. Not long after, he and several of his friends died under mysterious circumstances. This led to speculation that Bainbridge had unleashed an ancient curse. While there is no evidence to support the curse of the mummies, it makes for a fun legend that is often associated with ancient Egypt. So next time you see a mummy, be careful not to disturb it unless you want to unleash an ancient curse. Number 2. The Mystery of the Pyramids. The pyramids of Giza are among the most iconic structures in the world. These massive tombs were built as final resting places for 3 of Egypt's most powerful pharaohs. But despite their age, we still don't know how the pyramids were built. The pyramids are truly remarkable feats of engineering and construction. They are the oldest of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, and they have stood the test of time for over 4,000 years. But we do not know how the Egyptians were able to build these massive structures without modern tools and technology. There are many theories about how the pyramids were built, but no one knows for sure. Some believe that the Egyptians used slave labor to build the pyramids, while others think that the pyramids were built by a highly skilled workforce of masons and engineers. The truth is that we don't know much about how the pyramids were built. What we do know is that they are some of the most impressive structures ever constructed, and they are a testament to the ingenuity and hard work of the ancient Egyptians. Number 1. Imhotep. Imhotep is one of the most famous figures in Egyptian history. He was the vizier of King Djoser in the 3rd century BCE and is credited with building the first pyramid in Egypt. Imhotep was also a priest and a magician, and he was deified after his death. That means he was worshipped as a god. Imhotep is often depicted with the head of an ibis or a baboon, and he is associated with wisdom and magic. Unfortunately, much of what we know about Imhotep comes from Roman sources, which may not be reliable. Nevertheless, Imhotep remains one of the most popular figures in Egyptian mythology and folklore. Thanks for watching. What are your thoughts on the mysterious ancient civilizations of Egypt? Let me know in the comments below. See you next time. Bye.